Your kids are watching you, not just when you're dressed up and smiling, not just when you say the right things. They're watching when you lose your temper, when you break your promises, when you compromise. When you lie, even just a little. They're watching when you don't think they are. You think you're teaching them how to behave with your words, but it's your life that's the real curriculum, your habits, your choices, your attitude. That's what they learn from. And that's why this lesson is so crucial. It's for them, yes, but maybe, just maybe, it's more for you. See, we often think parenting is about instruction. And it is, to some degree, but the real power isn't in telling your kids what to do. It's in showing them, and not just showing them the polished version of you. They need to see what integrity looks like when it's inconvenient. They need to see what kindness looks like when you're tired. They need to see what humility looks like when you're right. They need to see you live it, not just preach it, because kids are better observers than listeners. They mimic your tone, your attitude, your posture toward life. They soak in your energy, your resilience, your excuses. They become little mirrors of who you are, not who you hope they'll be. This is where the lesson begins. The hard one, the one they desperately need, but it starts with you. We want our children to grow up respectful, honest, responsible, loving, ambitious, patient, kind, courageous. But here's the question. Are you? Not in your ideal self, not in your Instagram moments. I mean when life hits hard, when you've had a bad day, when you're running late, when you're disappointed, when the pressure is on. We tell our kids to be calm, and then we yell at them. We tell them to be truthful, and then they hear us lie on the phone. We tell them to be grateful, and then we complain about everything. We tell them to be disciplined, and they see us waste our evenings scrolling. We tell them to be confident, and they see us defeated by self-doubt. Do you see the contradiction? The truth is, your life is their instruction manual, and that's why you have to take this seriously. Not just for them, for you, because parenting isn't just about shaping the next generation. It's about reshaping yourself. We expect our kids to rise, but they can't rise above the standard we set. You want them to grow into something greater. Then start growing again. Start becoming the person you hope they'll become. They'll never take character more seriously than you do. They'll never value discipline if they don't see it modeled. They won't believe in dreams if you've given up on yours. You see, this isn't just about parenting. This is about personal responsibility, about reclaiming the parts of yourself that maybe you've let go, the parts that got buried under bills and routines and disappointments, the parts that got numb after years of stress and compromise. That youthful fire you once had, that conviction, that vision, your kids need to see it again. Not because you tell them stories about who you used to be, but because you're still becoming, because you're still fighting to grow. Don't ask them to believe in values you don't live. Don't expect them to chase excellence if you're settling. Don't tell them to stand tall when you've curled into a shell of fear and regret. Lead them by being the kind of person that inspires them. And that means getting honest, really honest, not just with them, with yourself. Where have you let yourself go emotionally, mentally, physically? What standards have you lowered to feel more comfortable? What disciplines have you abandoned? What kind of future are you building right now? Not just for them, but for you. Your kids need a role model, not a lecturer. They need someone to show them what striving looks like, what forgiveness looks like, what bouncing back looks like, what faith and hard work and honesty actually feel like in action. And yes, they'll need to learn how to navigate life's storms. But don't just warn them about the weather. Show them how to build a ship. Show them what it means to stay calm when things go wrong. Show them how to pray, how to hustle, how to love through pain, how to stand when it's easier to sit down. Be the blueprint. We live in a world that teaches kids to seek approval from screens, shortcuts, and shallow applause. But you have a chance to teach them something deeper, something more permanent. You can give them the tools that no school will. Not with lectures, with your life. And here's the powerful part. When you take that responsibility seriously, something beautiful happens. You start growing again. You start rebuilding yourself. You start becoming the kind of person who doesn't just raise kids well, but lives well. And this is the part you didn't expect. This is the lesson you thought was for them, but ends up being for you. You realize that parenting is a mirror. It exposes what's still broken inside you, what still needs healing, what still needs maturing, what still needs commitment. It's humbling, isn't it? But it's also hopeful, because the work you do on yourself isn't just for you anymore. It's generational, it's legacy work. When you shift your mindset, when you raise your standards, when you start walking with discipline and integrity again, you don't just change your life, you change your lineage. But here's the challenge. This requires consistency. It's not enough to have good moments. Anyone can be inspiring for a day, but kids don't remember the peaks. They remember the patterns. They remember what was normal. So you've got to make growth your normal. Effort your normal. Optimism your normal. Gratitude your normal. Love your normal. Because what's normal to you will feel natural to them. They don't need you to be perfect, but they need you to be real. They need to see your struggles. They need to see you own your mistakes. They need to see you apologize, forgive, adapt, keep going. That's how they learn resilience. That's how they learn empathy. That's how they learn courage. And if you think you're too old, too tired, too far gone to turn things around, let me remind you, the moment you decide to change, your life changes. That spark can be reignited. That purpose can be rebuilt. That foundation can be restored, and your kids will be the first ones to notice. They'll see it in your eyes, in your posture, in your energy, in your laughter, in your discipline, in your love. That's the moment they'll start believing in transformation. Not because you told them it's possible, because they watched it happen in you. And this might surprise you, but one of the greatest gifts you'll give your children isn't what you do for them. It's who you become in front of them. When they see you fight for your health, when they see you go after your dreams again, when they see you stop blaming and start building, when they see you reading again, learning again, challenging yourself again, they won't forget it. It will burn into their hearts. It will follow them when they leave the house. It will echo in their decisions, because you didn't just raise them, you led them, and they will carry your example far longer than they'll carry your advice. So if you've been coasting, it's time to get up. If you've been discouraged, it's time to breathe deep and begin again. If you've been settling, it's time to remember who you are and what they need you to become. Don't wait for the right moment, create it. Don't wait for their attention, earn it. Don't wait for them to understand, show them. Don't wait for them to thank you. Inspire them so deeply they one day pass it on without even realizing it. Because at the end of the day, this lesson is for them, but maybe, just maybe, it was for you all along. They're watching even when you don't think they are, watching when you're half-asleep scrolling through your phone. Watching when you're stressed behind the wheel, watching when you sigh at bills, watching when you argue with your spouse, watching when you apologize or don't. They notice more than we think. You may not realize it, but you're the most important classroom they'll ever sit in. And here's the thing, you are teaching them a lesson every single day, not with your words, but with your life. We think parenting is about having the right answers, giving the best advice, making sure they do their homework, eat their vegetables, say thank you, and brush their teeth. And yes, all that matters, but beneath the surface, something far more important is happening. You're shaping how they see the world, how they value themselves, what they believe is possible. You're shaping how they respond to fear, how they handle failure, how they love, how they forgive. And you're doing it not through lectures, but through your behavior. Every small choice becomes a message. Every reaction is a signal. Every time you give up, every time you push through, every time you stay calm or explode, it teaches them something. You're the example, not once in a while, all the time. This is why this lesson, this message, this reminder is so urgent, because yes, your kids need to learn it. But before they can learn it, you have to live it. And the deeper truth, maybe you need it more than they do. Look around you. We're living in a time where children are growing up in the shadows of overwhelmed, disconnected adults. Not bad people, just distracted ones. Exhausted, caught in cycles, surviving instead of thriving, the average child sees their parent more tired than inspired, more irritable than intentional, more reactive than reflective, and what does that teach them? We want our children to be patient, but we rush everything. We want them to be honest, but we bend the truth. We want them to be responsible, but we procrastinate. We want them to be brave, but we walk in fear. We want them to be joyful, but we grumble. We want them to dream, but we stopped dreaming a long time ago. Can you feel the gap? It's not just about them anymore. It's about us. Because somewhere along the way, maybe you lost a piece of yourself. Maybe life wore you down. Maybe you started moving through the motions. Working, eating, scrolling, complaining, sleeping, repeating. Maybe the spark got dim. Maybe you forgot how powerful your example truly is. But let me tell you something. Your kids don't just need a roof over their heads or food on the table. They need a parent who's alive, a parent who remembers who they are, a parent who's not perfect but present, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, a parent who's growing, becoming, healing, trying, because that effort, that hunger, that fire, it becomes theirs. And here's where the deeper truth reveals itself. If you want your kids to be better, you have to be better. If you want them to grow, you have to grow. If you want them to aim higher, you have to raise your own standard, not just for them, for you, because the version of yourself that's been sleeping, that's been settling, isn't who you were born to be. You used to believe in possibilities, you used to take risks, you used to bounce back faster, you used to dream big, and even if it's been years, even if you've fallen, failed, been broken in ways no one sees, it's still in you. It's waiting to wake up, and now your kids are watching, waiting, learning. What lesson are they learning from you? Are they learning that life beats you down and you stay down, or that you get back up? Are they learning that fear keeps you small, or that courage wins in the end? Are they learning that love is conditional, or that it's the most resilient force on earth? Because listen, this world will try to raise your children if you don't. And it will teach them to chase approval, money, popularity, shortcuts, distractions. It will teach them to escape instead of face, numb instead of feel, quit instead of build, and if you're not careful, your silence becomes agreement. Your lack of example becomes permission. The void you leave will be filled by something else. So what do? You take responsibility, not just as a parent, but as a person. You rise, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You decide that who you are becoming matters more than what you've been through. You decide that the lesson they need is the one you're now going to live. Let them see you uncomfortable. Let them see you trying. Let them see you fail and get up. Let them see you learning again, reading again, walking again instead of sitting. Let them see you choose health over habit, peace over chaos, action over excuses. Let them watch you apologize when you're wrong. Let them see your humility, not just your strength, because children don't need superheroes. They need truth tellers. They need warriors of grace. They need models of what real courage looks like. Not loud, not perfect, just real. And in doing so, you won't just change their lives. You'll begin to heal your own. This is the part where the lesson turns inward, where you realize this message isn't just about teaching your kids how to live. It's about reminding yourself that you are still here, that you still matter, that it's not too late, that the fire in you might be dim, but it's not out, that the greatest version of you is still possible, still waiting, still willing. Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you sat with yourself, not as a parent, not as a worker, not as a spouse, but as a human being? When was the last time you asked, what kind of legacy am I leaving through my example? Would I want my child to live the life I'm living right now? Would I be proud if they handled life the way I do? Painful questions, maybe, but powerful ones, and they open the door to change. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need a perfect past. You just need the willingness to begin again. You need the humility to say, I can do better. You need the strength to take one step, even if it's shaky. You need the courage to keep going even when no one claps for you. Because this isn't about applause, it's about alignment, about becoming the person your soul respects, the person your child admires, the person you once dreamed of being, because children can see through fake. They can feel your frustration, your emptiness, your resentment, but they can also feel your joy. They can feel your truth. They can feel your love when it's real. They can sense when you are becoming someone stronger, not just for them, but with them. And one day they'll remember not just what you said, but what you did when no one was looking. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember if you were bitter or brave. If you shut down or stood tall, if you settled or soared, and that memory will guide them long after you're gone. So if you feel tired, good. That means you've been carrying a weight that matters. But don't stop here. Don't let your fatigue become your identity. Don't let the struggles define you more than the strength you still have. This isn't just a wake-up call for your children. This is a wake-up call for your soul. You are not done. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not behind. You are right on time for your own transformation. And it starts with one choice: to live the lesson you want them to learn. Be what you wish for them. Speak the way you hope they will speak. Love the way you hope they will love. Heal the way you pray they'll heal. Face your fears the way you want them to face theirs. And in doing so, you'll give them the most powerful gift a parent can offer, not just protection or provision, but permission. Permission to live boldly, to fail with grace, to rise with courage, to be human, and to be extraordinary. So maybe this lesson is for them, but now you know it's for you too.